A celebration of rainbows and cucumbers this afternoon in the mainstream media. The Preparation H fully stocked. The parade is underway. The anticipation's at an all-time high for the upcoming Butt Bongo Festival. Headline at the Sports Business Journal. WNBA to receive $2.2 billion in new broadcast rights deal. We told you these women were amazing. We told you the athleticism was elite. Bearded beauties are finally getting the respect and the money they deserve. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. You know, my dad always told me that the value of something is determined by what someone else is willing to pay you for it. For example, the perceived financial value of someone like Wolf Blitzer. Woof, woof, woof. The Cemetery News Network, they have determined that Wolf is worth $5 million a year. Now, if Wolf submitted his application to Uncle KC looking to work at Behind the Line soon-to-be Empire, I would not be willing to pay him $5 a year. Matter of fact, I would not be willing to pay Wolf Blitzer, period. Why? Because I know there is exactly 0 people in my audience clamoring to watch an aging fossil attempt to indoctrinate them, which means Wolf Blitzer has absolutely no value to me. And the same goes with the WNBA dump. If you asked me to come up with a valuation for the dump, I would tell you that you would have to pay me for it. I'm not paying you for it. The WNBA has minimal value. This dump is on pace to lose $50 million this season, but there might be a glimmer of hope. There might be a way for Kat Engelbert in the WNBA front office to finally achieve the impossible. Believe it or not, there might finally be a way for the WNBA to finally generate a single peso in profit. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. This afternoon, as I'm heading to get my hair cut, I get a notification on my phone from Sports Media Watch. WNBA said to be in line for as much as $260 million per year in new broadcast deal. What? Come again? Let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly. The WNBA, the league that struggles to sell tickets in high school gyms. If you remove Caitlin Clark from the equation and home games for the Indiana Felines, the WNBA averages less than 9,000 people a game. That number could drop next season because it was announced yesterday that the Chicago Bravado, they are having a massive increase in ticket prices. If you want to watch Angel Reese miss wide open layups, which are called dunk attempts in the WNBA, if you want to watch this amazing athleticism from courtside, tickets will cost you over $11,000 per game. The Bravado can't sell out when tickets are going for pennies. How in the hell are they supposed to sell out when the average price for courtside seats is higher than the average monthly salary in the WNBA? What's funny about this, the WNBA, they feel like they are being undervalued in this deal, which isn't all that surprising since this is the league that is the home of entitlement. Terry Jackson, executive director of the WNBA, whatever the hell that means, she put out a statement this afternoon where she basically blasted Adam Silver for undervaluing the broadcast rights of the WNBA. At $2.2 billion. You think you're undervalued? A league that has never generated a single peso in profit is set to receive billions of dollars and you think you're being undervalued? We'll get to that more here in just a second. What these media headlines should actually read this afternoon is Caitlin Clark set to receive over $2 billion from networks in new broadcast deal. The vast majority of this money, it should be given to Caitlin Clark. If the WNBA operated under a capitalist system, she would receive the bulk of the revenue because Caitlin Clark, She is the only one who generates most of the revenue and ratings. But as you guys know, the WNBA isn't a capitalist league. Matter of fact, the dump is the beacon of socialism. It is the very definition of the term redistribution of wealth. For the past 3 decades, the NBA has generated hundreds of billions of dollars in wealth, and the WNBA, it has been their primary charity where the wealth is redistributed. Like always, I am going to be completely honest with you guys. Part of me understands why ESPN, NBC, and Amazon are willing to quadruple the amount of money to pay for the WNBA. Right now, the WNBA receives around $60 million a year, which is soon to be the average salary for superstar players in the NBA. But under the new agreement, if it gets signed, the WNBA, they would receive $260 million a season. And part of me understands it. I get it. Caitlin Clark is a cultural phenomenon. Although the sample size is small, she has proven that she can maintain ratings throughout the season. When Caitlin Clark travels to road games, the opposing team, they have to move the game out of the high school gym and into an actual arena. There's no doubt about it. Caitlin Clark, box office. Now the media, they want you to believe that the rest of the WNBA is box office as well, when the reality is, they're not. We are halfway through the regular season, and the drop-off continues to be massive when Caitlin Clark's not involved. There have been 15 games this season that eclipsed 1 million viewers in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark played in 13 of those games, and she was indirectly involved in one of the others because she was the lead-in for it. Which means there's been one game in the WNBA this season that eclipsed 1 million viewers without the assistance of Caitlin Clark. Of the hundreds of games that have been televised, one has eclipsed 1 million viewers. One. Uno. Last weekend, Angel Reese and the Chicago Bravado, they played the New York Liberals on ABC. Now, according to the media, Angel Reese is a huge star. The media also claims that the New York Liberals featured 3-star players. But it's strange, outside of Sabrina Ionescu, who became famous after competing against Steph Curry in the three-point contest during All-Star Weekend in the NBA, outside of Sabri, no one can ever identify the other 2 stars playing for the Liberals. This star-studded, action-packed matchup on ABC, 961,000 viewers. Now, don't get me wrong. That is a great number for the WNBA in comparison to their past ratings, but the following day on ESPN, Caitlin Clark drew 1.6 million, almost double the audience of Angel Reese. Now, from a network perspective, paying the WNBA $260 million a season, that doesn't really seem like a big risk. ESPN's paying the NHL $400 million. What does the NHL average on ESPN? 500,000 viewers a game during the regular season. So the networks, they're getting a discount, right? On the surface, it seems like the WNBA is more popular than the NHL, and the networks, they're only paying $260 million for it. What a bargain! But there's a huge difference between the NHL and the WNBA. For starters, most of the value in the NHL, it's tied up in the playoffs. This past season, the NHL averaged 1.5 million viewers during the playoffs. They averaged over 2 million for the Stanley Cup Finals. Last year, WNBA, 470,000 during the playoffs, 728,000 for the finals, where we watched the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces win back-to-back rights to the Golden Toilet. Now, it's no secret that this new deal, it is 100% contingent on Caitlin Clark. If this deal was signed for 1, maybe 2 years, no big deal. But this deal carries the WNBA through the next 10 years, the next decade. What happens if, God forbid, Caitlin Clark gets injured? God forbid she tears her Achilles, which is usually a career-altering injury for a basketball player. Just go ask DeMarcus Cousins. What happens then? What happens if the Indiana Felines consistently fail to make the playoffs? You see where I'm going here? I know the WNBA thinks they're being undervalued. I know they want to whine and complain and criticize Adam Silver for supposedly undervaluing their prize dump. I know the WNBA thinks they're worth $1 billion in 1 year. They shouldn't have to work 10 years to receive $1 billion. I'm sure they think they're entitled to that money in one season. I'll tell you what I really think happened here. This is pure speculation on my part, but it's educated speculation. Several weeks ago, I was reading an article from Sports Media Watcher. Maybe it was Sports Business Journal. Either way, they were talking about the NBA's broadcast negotiations. One of the caveats in the negotiations was the WNBA. Now, from what I understand, Adam Silver was essentially forcing the networks, for lack of a better word, to take on the WNBA. If they wanted the rights to broadcast the NBA, they also had to accept the dump. Now, if that's true, and I think it is, this deal, it has absolutely nothing to do with the WNBA. WNBA in this deal, it's kind of like an additional warranty when you're buying a new car. You know you're not supposed to buy it. You know the warranty is complete bullshit. It's useless, but maybe you buy it anyway because when you look at the overall price of the car, that extra $2,000 for the warranty just doesn't seem like that much money. The NBA's deal with the networks, it's worth $75 billion over 10 years. Is it really hurting the networks to spend an extra $2 billion over the next decade just to appease Adam Silver by accepting the dump? Me personally, I wanted to see the WNBA hit the open market by themselves. I wanted to see the WNBA valued as a standalone television property because then we would know their real value. These dudes running the networks, they're not stupid, they're no dummies. I came up with the risk I laid out drinking my coffee this afternoon. I can guarantee you, they have thought about all that and more. Adam Silver? He's not stupid either, which is probably why he included the WNBA in the NBA's package. The WNBA can whine and complain all they want. They can question Adam Silver for including them in the NBA's package. They can criticize Adam Silver for undervaluing their dump. But at the end of the day, the WNBA has no leverage. And they have no leverage because without the NBA, they have no money. The receiver of the subsidy, they don't make decisions. The subsidizer makes the decisions. When you're accepting someone else's money, you don't call the shots. You just take what you can get. If I was Adam Silver and WNBA executives want to question my decisions publicly, I would say, fine. I'll tell you what. That $50 million you're losing this season, you absorb that loss instead of me paying for it. You shop your broadcast rights to the networks without the NBA's leverage, and let me know how it works out for you. Give me your thoughts on this. WNBA receives over $2 billion and they find a way to complain about it. They claim they're being undervalued. Do you agree with them? At $260 million a season, in a league that's never generated $2 in profit, at $260 a season, I think it's risky because you only have one player in the WNBA capable of drawing an audience. But give me your thoughts on this deal. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.